Hello and welcome back to another video. My name is James. For those of you who are new here, I am the founder and curator of kibblewatches.co.uk, your place to go if you want to buy or sell your watch regardless of brand, age, requirements or anything. So what do we have here today? We have an unboxing and first impressions. It's been a while since I've done one of these. Well, this watch is actually going into the personal collection and it's one I hope that's going to stick around for a while, because those of you who know me, I buy a lot of watches and I sell a lot of watches. I mean, it literally is my business, but a few come to the collection to stay, and I'm hoping this is going to be one of them. Now, as I said, this is the unboxing and first impressions. There will be a in-depth review where we go into the history and the model that inspired this and the history behind the brand and everything like that. But today's video is purely taking a first look and giving you my first impressions. Now, I will be completely honest. I actually received this watch yesterday. I took it out of the box and I enjoyed it until today. So I've actually had a day with it, which is pretty good because it means I can go a little bit more in depth rather than just the first impressions looking at the watch, because there's a couple of things I've already noticed in that time and I will remember to mute my phone. So without any further ado, let's flip the camera and get into the unboxing of this awesome Tissot. So here is the box, a very, very nice simple outer sleeve which actually has all the old logos and dates, even dating all the way back to 1880, which is pretty cool. So that's what it comes with on the outside all the way up to present day. And then inside you have your box. Now interestingly, at the back of this, and I think it's really nice that Tissot include this, let's see if I can get it out, we have two booklets. So you will have the history or the story of a watch company, which is the history of Tissot. I've actually never read this book, but I probably should at some point. It goes all into the detail of the history of the brand, which is kind of cool that they include this all the way down to movements and things like that. So definitely a nice little addition. And then the full catalogue, the latest update to it, which is good to try and get you to get more Tissots. I mean, there are some very interesting Tissots available. The Visidate's always a nice one. The new Powermatic 80s are pretty cool as well. I think they do some very, very nice stuff. And the Tissot Banana, that's another piece I'd like to add. What a cool name. But some cool watches. Now, what is the watch we have here today? Well, let's open it up and take a look. Now, before we get into that, the box has a little cubby hole here for the guarantee card and booklet, and another cubby hole as well. And right at the back, you've actually got a little Tissot pouch, which you can use for traveling. And the watch will come on the little cushion, which is at the back over here. And let's move everything off screen and get onto the watch. And here we are. This is the watch you've already seen if you've read the title of the video, which I suspect everyone has. This is the Tissot Heritage 1948, so it's based on a vintage model from the Heritage line, and I think Tissot's Heritage line is great. So this is the 1948 and the exact reference is T66171233. It is a full automatic chronograph and the retail price of this is £1,295 on the brown leather strap. Now you might be looking at this going, I don't recognise that strap. Well, that isn't the factory original. This is the factory original mock alligator leather. As you can see, it's still got the sticker on. Now, I did wear it on this for about an hour, and I have to be honest, I've always disliked these straps, and this strap particularly from Tissot. Let's get into why. So, one, the strap, in my opinion, it looks okay. You know, it doesn't look bad, but the quality definitely is lacking somewhat. And then also just how sort of the strap is very stiff. Now, granted, it will wear in over time, that is for sure. But it's just not very comfortable. And these deployants, now this may be a point to make because of my wrist size, but it is very uncomfortable on the wrist. It actually digs into my wrist. This actually digs into my wrist quite aggressively around this area. Now I have a 6 3/4 inch wrist and we'll show the watch on wrist soon, but this part really digs in and leaves a mark. So I find myself often taking this off, and I've had Tissots in the past with this clasp and they've all done the same. Again, it could be due to my wrist size and shape, so you may not have that problem, but something definitely worth mentioning. I pretty much after an hour took it straight off this strap and put it on a nice generic leather strap we have in stock. We don't sell them at Kibble Watches, but we get these straps in all the time. You can get some good straps from WatchGecko as well, because I know everyone will probably ask in the comment section. Now, my collection varies from sort of modern Cartier, I've got a nice Santos, we've got a vintage Zenith. I have everything from sort of very early 1927 14 karat gold Bolivar in sort of a tonneau shape and unusual square. I really do collect a huge range of watches, and that's the sort of perks of running a watch business that sells watches. I get hands-on with so many, and I get to develop my taste and what I like very quickly, comparative to obviously most collectors. Now, I used to work retail. I used to work in a normal retailer store, and we sold Tissot, and I remember we got this watch in on special request because we didn't stock it as standard in the display, and a customer came in and ordered this watch, and I'd never seen it up until that point, and when it came in I was enamored by it. The case size and proportions at 39.5mm was perfect. These Bombay lugs, absolutely stunning, and the dial is truly beautiful. I mean, just look at that. Pure white dial, very, very simple, with beautiful numerals, or should I say just one numeral at 12 and the little applique dots all around. Really, really stunning, and I fell in love the moment I saw it. The contrast of finishing, everything, it was perfect. And the price was very fair. It was actually a lot cheaper back then. I can't remember exactly how much, but now at $1,295 for a fully automatic 3-dial chronograph is very, very competitive and very, very good. So I always wanted one, and recently the opportunity came up to get one, slightly less than retail, brand new. So I jumped at the opportunity. I thought it would be great to add this to my collection. I currently don't have a chronograph in the personal collection, and I've wanted one for a while, and this just ticked all the boxes, so I jumped it. Now, as we were saying about dimensions, let's actually get the full dimensions out of the way. It is a 39.5mm case. You've got 12.5mm thick, only 48.5mm lug tip to lug tip, so whilst these Bombay lugs look quite proud, they actually are fairly short, and the lug width, thank God, is only 20mm. Now, the spring bars it come with are slightly curved, and I've got to be honest, they fit into most straps completely fine. For example, this is not a curved end link strap, but you can see the curved end link is fitted in, spring bar, sorry, and curved it nicely, allowing it to fit a lot better onto the strap. You can fit a normal spring bar, but you're at risk of sort of rubbing against the case, if that makes sense, because of the width and how close those lugs holes are comparative to the case, because these flare out from a fair bit back. Hopefully that makes sense. Now, the watch obviously is stainless steel. You can see you've got a beautiful brush finish with polished chamfers all around, which on those Bombay lugs just looks stunning. A signed Tissot crown, which obviously isn't screw down, and square pushers, which is really nice, and we can show that actuation right there. Very sharp and very nice. Now, what is powering this movement? Well, let's take off the sticker on camera, because I know people always like this, and oftentimes I can't grab it. There we go. And let's give that a quick clean. So there we go. Now, thank you for the fears cloth, Nicholas, by the way, that's what we use. You can see the case back here, nicely decorated with partial exhibition. I'm not too sure for the reasoning of this, probably because they wanted to make it quite elaborate with that decoration that they've done. You can see the rotor there as well, signed, and the movement actually inside here is an automatic ETA 2894-2. So there you have it, a very nice and reliable automatic chronograph movement at a very affordable price, especially if you can get one at discount from retail. Now, the rumor has it that these may get discontinued at some point. I'm not sure how true that rumor is, and we'll have to wait and see, but that's kind of the reason I jumped on it when this one got offered as well, because, you know, one, I've always liked the watch, and soon I won't be able to get it as easily brand new. I'm sure there'll still be plenty on the market. It's not like this was a limited edition or anything like that, but it is a very good looking watch. So now we've got the movement out of the way, the case dimensions, let's talk my opinion. So as I said, I've always loved the design of this watch. Now, one thing that always put me off the watch, and I'll be completely honest, is that date placement. Now, why on earth couldn't they have just removed the date? I don't know, but I think this watch without the date would have been absolutely perfect. And let's put it on wrist and show you whilst we talk about that. So there you have it on my 6 3/4 inch wrist. Let's zoom in a little bit on that as well. There we go. So you can see it a little bit better there if I don't knock the camera over. 6 3/4 inch wrist, and you can see the case size and those Bombay lugs. It is truly stunning. Now, back to that date. I wish they hadn't put it. A lot of brands, Tissot, Longines, and a lot of the Swatch brands get these heritage styled watches almost perfect. And by almost perfect, I mean there's usually one or two things that really just let it down, and unfortunately most of the time it's a big letdown. Now, is that date a huge letdown? For me, it is a pretty big letdown. Now, will it be for everyone? 100% not, but it is one of those things that really bothers me a fair bit. Now, is it going to bother me so much that I don't keep the watch? I don't think so. I think I'm going to be more than fine keeping this watch for a long time. But it's definitely something that's going to put off a lot of people. Another thing, the lack of applied logo. Is that a problem again? I mean, not so much for me, but it would have been nice to see an applied logo as opposed to the printed logo. Now, this watch does actually feature a Heritage crystal, so a plastic crystal, the same way as a Speedy Professional. The Heritage version, of course, not the Sapphire Sandwich, or most vintage watches. Now, is that a problem? Well, personally, because as a watch dealer, we actually have a polish wheel on site, so I'm able to buff these crystals, you know, as and when needed, and obviously polywatch as well is another option. It's not a big deal to me at all, and if anything, adds to the heritage and the sort of vintage feel of the watch. Would a curved sapphire have been better? Probably, but then the cost would have definitely been more, and if you were to break that crystal, it would be a lot harder to replace, whereas with this Heritage, if I ever cracked it, I could probably get my watchmaker to replace that relatively easily, depending on the size. I mean, I think it should be doable. Now, unfortunately, there is actually one big thing with this watch that I noticed in the day of having it. I don't know if any of you have noticed, that's going to be a case of how keen-eyed you are, or the angles I've been getting this watch at. Now, if you have a look at that chronograph hand, it is ever so slightly off-centered. Unfortunately, it's something that can happen with chronographs, and I've seen actually a few times, even with brand new watches, and even from the brands you wouldn't think would do it. Now, is it the end of the world to me? No, because it's not hugely off. If it was about a second off, it would irritate me more. It is only slightly off. Is it something I'm going to get sorted via the warranty? Yes. Right now, probably not. I'm a bit busy at the moment in the process of moving, and it really isn't that big of a deal to me. And this does come with a 2-year warranty, so I will get that sorted at some point. But you can see the chronograph there. I mean, maybe if we start and stop the chronograph and reset it, you'll see it's slightly off. Is that a quality control issue? Yes. Is it something they should have noticed? Yes. But is it so subtle that it could have passed through? I guess so. And it's one of those things you've got to just sort of keep in mind does happen and can happen with chronographs, unfortunately, and it shouldn't, I agree, but it has in this case. I've just been one of the unlucky people who have got a slightly off-centered chronograph. So there you have it, guys and girls. That is my unboxing and first impressions. I love this watch. I think the design is absolutely perfect and beautiful. I wish there was no date. And unfortunately mine is a little off-centered with the chronograph, not ideal. But I think it's a watch I'm definitely going to enjoy, and it's going to stick around in the personal collection for quite some time. And I look forward to doing a review. It will probably be a review after a month of owning this watch, you know, sort of 4 weeks on the wrist or something like that, we'll call it. So far, as of yesterday, this watch hasn't left my wrist, and it is Friday today, and I'm going to be wearing this over the whole weekend, I suspect. So keep an eye on Instagram for some photos of this. I try and post wrist shots regularly. And let me know down in the comments your opinions on this watch. What do you think? Would that off-centered chrono be a deal breaker for you? Would you send it back and return it and get a new one? Or would you want a refund altogether? Would it put you off the watch completely? I know some people who are put off by the slightest quality control issue because they then wonder, well, if they got it wrong on this one, they're going to get it wrong on all of them, which just isn't the case. I can say that speaking, you know, as someone who worked retail with these brand new, and just unfortunately some things slip quality control. You got to imagine how many of these they're producing. Is it an excuse? No. Should it happen? No. But does it happen? Yes. And even with the brands, you probably think it doesn't. So there we have it. I look forward to reading all your comments. If you own this watch, I look forward to hearing your opinions. If you've owned this watch in the past, again, you know, let us know. Thank you all for watching. I look forward to seeing you in the full review of this and all the videos that are coming up. Take care.